Usman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
We are back in Abu Dhabi, UFC Abu Dhabi, Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov, live on ABC. Yes, back on ABC. Early start time. Guys, keep that in mind. 12 p.m. Eastern time. They're not catering to the U.S. fans here like they did in England. You know, part of that obviously is because of the being on ABC and not pay-per-view, right? So keep that in mind here. And we saw a card also, the Whitaker card. Remember the Whitaker card against Aliskerov? Same time. And it was in Abu Dhabi. That wasn't too long, a couple months ago. So we're back there once again. We got a good card here. I'll break down the main card like I always do, provide free picks, leans, price talk, fades, and more. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping for client opportunities. You can also get my resume over there, client comments, records, and everything system capping. Available everywhere now, guys. I don't know if you are, most of you guys probably are aware, but if you are new to the podcast, we're everywhere, major platforms, at least obviously YouTube. We've been grinding on YouTube for years now. But now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Google as well. Google Podcasts, I didn't really know that was a thing, but I guess people listen there as well. So if you just want audio, you can head over there, listen there. If you want video, got a new little setup here for you guys, continuing to improve it each and every week. You can watch me over here on YouTube if you're watching. NFL is around the corner, guys. Future Investment Podcast is coming out end of August, so look out for that. Market research has already started for the NFL. A lot of you guys know me from the NFL, right? Big seasons that I had over the years. Obviously, big client seasons as well, and also winning in Vegas as well. So hopefully you guys have been following me from then. If not, if you're new, welcome aboard. Best time to get on board, I would say, is now, guys. NFL, UFC, PGA each week. You're going to have high volume, more opportunities to win larger units due to having 3 events, not just 2. UFC 304 recap. Let's do a recap here, guys. It was looking good. It was a perfect card up until the main event. We were looking good. We're gonna have another perfect pay-per-view card, and then Leon Edwards decides not to show up. I was a little worried. I did not write off Belal in this fight. I gave him a chance to win the fight if he did everything correctly, and he was able to do everything well. Very impressive by Belal, right? Obviously, Edwards after mentioned he didn't look himself. He mentioned that the time, apparently he may have had a back injury. That's just very hard to predict, right? That someone's going to come out sluggish. You're a title holder. You should be ready for this time, right? And he didn't look himself. I agree with that aspect from it, but we have to give some credit to Belal. Belal had a game plan, and he stuck to it. Pressure, good jab. The boxing has improved. I'll give him that. Canelo, no, but it has improved. And then obviously the takedowns were the story, right? We've seen Leon be able to stuff the takedowns against Usman in the third fight, against Colby for most of the fight. But Belal was able to have success. Now, he did have some offensive grappling in there. I thought Edwards still won 2 rounds. I give him the 5th because, you know, Belal didn't do much in the 5th. He took him down, but then that cut, that was the biggest shot of the whole fight, an elbow in the 5th round from Leon Edwards with 20 seconds left. He decided to land a big shot with 20 seconds left to open up Belal. Belal looked like he lost the fight, right? After, not Leon. Leon, I don't think had many marks on him, to be honest, because we know how Belal likes to fight. He likes to pressure. He likes to not give you any space, and he did that well. He does that very well. And that was the thing I was slightly worried about. Obviously, I could not get to any best bet or anything like that because of that. And, you know, betting against Belal definitely wouldn't have not been a profitable thing if you were doing so in his previous fight. So Yeah, it was tough to see Edwards not show up at home. And, this is the second time now, right? We've seen it against Usman. He didn't show up. And he is hard to judge, hard to read at times. So that is definitely noted. We did start the card nicely with a nice 2-fight parlay on Nathaniel Wood and Arnold Allen. We also hit Arnold Allen by decision at plus money. No concern there. Obviously, Giga very tough, never been finished. So Allen by decision was obviously the smart play. We got that at plus money, so nice hit there. Nice hit on the parlay too. Wood had really no issues winning that fight against Pineda. And we also obviously were on the Aspinall side by finish. What a story Aspinall's been, right? Best heavyweight in the world, in my opinion, right now. John Jones just not as active. And he only has one fight at heavyweight, right? So Tom Aspinall is the guy to beat in the heavyweight division, in my opinion. Hopefully he does fight John Jones, and John Jones doesn't, run into the sunset after he beats Stipe. I would love to see the Aspinall fight, and right now, I would bet on Aspinall just due to the activity. Let's do a UFC record update here, guys. I'm going to get some coffee early in the morning. For me, I'm doing this early in the morning. I got a busy day ahead of me. Coffee, gotta love some coffee. UFC record update, 25-3. Pay-per-view run, guys. 90%. Yes, it was a 2-on-1 card last week, just no profit because I had Edwards in our main play with Aspinall by finish, right? So tough luck there. 43-20 all cards run. That's 70%, guys. 70%, pretty much the full year now. 70% 2-fight parlays. This is longer term, 2023 and 2024. We know we hit these high. We hit these mainly plus money parlays or low minus, like minus 110, minus 120 at times. We hit these at a very high percentage, higher than anyone in the market. Average line plus money on all these records, guys. Keep that in mind. Profitable every year. We handicap in the UFC over 83 units long term. Remember, I'm a smaller unit guy, right? 0.5. Longer shots, 0.25. Mainly unit plays. Best bets are 2, maybe even 3 at times. PGA, profitable week last week at the 3M Open thanks to the prop market. Olympics is this week. We got a big card going. Shout out to the few new clients that got on board for the Olympics and this ABC card. Great value there. 70% free plays long term in the PGA, guys. 6 out of the last 8 outrights in the majors. We have 11 outrights on the season. Shop around. Shop around. We're going to get right into it, guys. We're going to get right into this card. Shop around for the best price. Have multiple sports books. Have access to multiple sports books. Have accounts on multiple sports books so you can get the best price out there. It does vary. Nurmagomedov minus 334 versus Corey Sandhagen plus 250. I never thought I would see someone this highly favored over a Corey Sandhagen. We know how good Corey Sandhagen is, guys. Right? I make my lines before looking at the lines always. Right? If you're a high-level handicapper, you should be doing this. Right? You need to make your own lines to see the difference from the market. And this is one of my system plays with multiple. I have many. This is one of them. I'm giving you guys the secret ingredients. Do this. You got to know how to read lines and stuff and know line. Not everyone can do this. Very limited guys could do this. But I had this more of a 2-1 favorite. All right, I'm still going to favor Nurmagomedov, and it's going to be mainly due to the wrestling advantage he has here. We've seen Sandhagen beaten before in wrestling. Now, I think Sandhagen has good wrestling, but he doesn't have Dagestan wrestling, right? There's a difference between American wrestling and the Dagestan wrestling. We see it time and time again. And Nurmagomedov, guys, he is going to be one of the best strikers out of this Russian group, out of this Dagestani group, better than Khabib, better than Islam Makhachev. I think he's more well-rounded than a lot of these guys. Even though at times in fights so far, I haven't seen him live up to that hype of a Khabib and Islam. We haven't seen it yet. This is his big test so far. Right? You got to understand, Umar has not been given the big names as of yet, and that's why I hesitant with this number at minus 334. It's very difficult to get to this number. We haven't seen it. I've seen it from Corey. I know how good Corey is, right? Corey's on that 3-fight win streak, right? Over good guys, over guys that have proved themselves and almost got to that title shot or had that title shot, right? Marlon Vera just came off a title shot, got beat up, yeah, but Rob Font, Song Yadong, these are high-level guys. Compared to what Nurmagomedov's fighting, I understand that you only can fight who you're put in front of, but at times he hasn't looked spectacular in these fights, right? Brian Keller, about to retire. Nathan Menes, just cut by the UFC. Ronnie Barcelos, good fighter, but mid-tier at best. And then Almacon, I think that was a short notice fight. So it's just night and day difference in resume, guys. Night and day difference. Corey's fighting for titles. Corey's fought many main events. Nurmagomedov, this is going to be his first 5-round fight. Now, do I think it's going to be an issue 5 rounds for him? I don't think so. We know how high-level training is, right? We also got to give the advantage that he's fighting over in Abu Dhabi. Yeah, he's slight advantage to him. He's going to have the crowd on his side. I know Corey's been out there for about a week now already, plus this week. So it's probably going to be about 2 weeks that he's out there. So I don't think that's going to be an issue for him, the timing or, the climate, anything like that. But you have to favor Nurmagomedov in the region that this fight's being held, right? So you got the wrestling Nurmagomedov side, and that's very key, and I think that's why he's a, favorite. He's also 17-0. He's never lost a fight, guys. A lot of hype around him. A lot of hype around him being the next guy in this division. I just haven't seen that spectacular performance where I'm like, oh, this is the next Khabib. Oh, this is the next Islam. I personally haven't seen that yet. This is the time. This is the time to show it. Right? Beating a very good Corey Sandhagen. I know he's going to have a good game plan to do so. I just don't agree with this price on minus 334, and I think most of the people don't in around the market. Right? And I just cannot write off Corey Sandhagen here. Great movement on the feet. Excellent striking, we know that. Right? We just know Nurmagomedov is going to have that grappling wrestling advantage on the ground. And like I mentioned, Corey is a good wrestler. He has some wrestling. Keep that in mind. But he's not going to have better wrestling than Nurmagomedov in this fight. Right? Hate the price here. I wouldn't call you guys crazy if you're betting Corey Sandhagen at this price. This would be more of a price bet. Right? Me personally, this is not going to make my client card from a side standpoint, even though I'm leaning more of the fight going the distance or over in the rounds, which could sneak onto my client card. This is something I have to look at a little further before Friday when the client card comes out. But it's just very difficult to get to this side unless you like Corey Sandhagen. If you like Corey Sandhagen and really thinks he can win this fight, you're laughing. You're laughing and running to the books at plus 250. Right? You are laughing. So, me personally, I will not be betting a side on here. For video purposes, prices off the table, no prices, just man-to-man. I have to lean Nurmagomedov due to the wrestling advantage, due to where he's fighting, due to him never losing a fight. However, the couple concerns that I have is he hasn't fought 5 rounds. We haven't seen him in a big spot like this, and Corey Sandhagen's one tough SOB. So, staying away from his side, I just want to watch this fight. I'm very intrigued to see how good really Nurmagomedov is, and if Corey is still that top 5, top 3, top 1 guy in the world. So enjoy this fight, guys. This could be a very good fight, very high level fight. I can't wait to watch it. Favorite play is this fight to go deep into it and possibly all 5 rounds. Magomedov minus 220 versus Oleksiejczuk plus 185. Both these guys just fought, guys, like a month ago. Both of them just fought a month ago, and we're going to see them again. This is where the bullet, Magomedov, you're going to see him fighting more, right? Out in these cards. He's always going to be on these cards. He's highly touted over here. They love him, and the Russian fans are going to come out for him. Right? The Polish fighter, Oleg, he's coming off back-to-back losses, and they're both submission losses. We were on the Kevin Holland by submission, guys. Kevin Holland by submission. We were on that nice plus money there. We know how he fights, right? What was the other loss? I don't have the guy's name. But back-to-back losses by submission, and his submission defense is very poor, guys. 6, 7 times he's been submitted in his MMA career. It's very poor. Magomedov could get this fight down to the ground. We also know his takedown defense is poor, the Oleg. So the only way Oleg wins this fight is catching him on the feet with a big shot. Possible, sure. Magomedov, we know his striking's not incredible. But I just can't get to Oleg. He does not look great, guys. I follow them also. I follow all these guys on social media. Comments. Just doesn't seem to have a lot of confidence, right? I read one article where he was saying, you're going to go to another organization if you lose this fight, this and that. He goes, I might retire if I lose this. He doesn't train out of a good camp. It's some camp out of Poland, guys. I just have very tough time seeing how he wins this fight. Again, he could catch him on the feet. I just have it at a low percentage, right? 15% that he catches Magomedov on the feet and finishes him. That's the only way. He's not going to win a 3-round decision because his cardio is poor. He's not going to submit him. He's not going to out-wrestle him. The only way he wins this fight is to catch him clean on the feet, and you have that at a low percentage. Could it happen? Sure. Of course it could happen. But 8 out of 10 times Magomedov wins this fight in my eyes. So if you're going to bet him here minus 220, try to sneak him into a 2-fight parlay. He could make my card this weekend. This is a fun one, guys. This is a fun one. Vera plus 125 versus Figueiredo minus 150. This should be I see this fight as like a co-main event or like a main event on a fight night card. This is a fun card. This is a fun fight. Could it be boring? Maybe. It could be boring, maybe. It's possible, right, guys? Could be, because both these guys are somewhat low volume. We could see them kind of just standing in front of each other. That is possible. But I could see Davison making this an MMA fight and shooting for takedowns, right? We've seen Vera at times get taken down. Not a great wrestler. Not a great grappler. Good, but not great, right? Give Figueiredo that advantage there, right? On the feet, somewhat, I say Figueiredo more power, but Vera's more sneaky, more crafty. But Figueiredo's going to be a little quicker on the feet as well, right? Not a lot going for Vera besides his toughness. He has a slow start. This is a 3-round fight, not favoring Vera here, right? And coming off a beating after Sean O'Malley, how does he really handle that, right? When you come off a tough beating like that against the world's best right now at bantamweight, it's tough, right? I don't know how he's going to respond after getting beaten up like that. There are that handful of guys that will come back and prove that, hey, I'm still here. That did not affect me that much. Difficult to do, though. We're going to see how tough Vera's mindset is coming into this fight. Figueiredo, we know he's moved up and he's looked great, right? Beat Rob Font, beat Corey Garbrandt. So he has some decent wins and some nice wins already at 135. And I like Davison here. I like him here. But at times, he's a little bit of a head case. Hard to read at times. It's probably not a fight I'll be betting for a client standpoint from a side. But I can definitely see this fight going over the 2.5 rounds, go 3 rounds, right? Vera just does not get finished. Figgy has been finished before, if I recall. But Vera's not that guy, really. To finish you. He's more of a volume guy to finish you, landing some of the bigger strikes. And he could, if he catches him with like a crazy kick or something. But I'm just saying like one knockout power. He doesn't have that. Unless it's some, flailing knee or kick. We've seen those finishes from Vera. So that's his path here. Could Figueiredo like sub Vera? We just haven't seen it. We haven't seen Vera get finished before. Right, so I have a difficult time seeing, where he finishes him. You got to look at the over 2.5 rounds fight to go the distance in this one. Excited for this fight. I'll probably be staying off it from a side standpoint. Lean Figueiredo due to Vera's situation right now. Both guys kind of going in different directions. This fight, I'm actually very intrigued to see how this fight plays out. But why is it here? Why is this matchup given to us? Tony Ferguson is still going at it. I don't want to see it anymore, but he's still doing it. Plus 450, guys. plus 450 versus Michael Chiesa minus 600. Yikes. He continues to fight Tony. He has 7 straight losses. Fun fact here. 7 straight losses, which ties BJ Penn for the most consecutive losses ever in the UFC. If he loses this fight, he's going to be holding 8 straight losses, which will be the record. That's not a record you want, guys. I thought Tony Ferguson, even though, he shows up sometimes in fights, he's not getting finished at times. He's kind of hanging around late into fights. If he does get finished, it's later in the fight. Just fought Paddy Pimblett. He lasted, but Bobby Green submitted him. All right? Against Paddy Pimblett, got beat up for most of the fight. Didn't get finished, though. So does he have a little left in the tank? I don't know, guys. Michael Chiesa, though, should never be minus 600 versus anyone in the UFC. Why is he minus 600? Right? And that's why there is some intrigue with Tony Ferguson at plus 450. I'm hearing buzzing around the mark where Tony Ferguson, people are putting maybe a small unit on him. I wouldn't call you crazy, but I kind of would call you crazy. Because look how he's been, right? Obviously, we kind of know how this fight should go. Chiesa's just going to get him down to the ground, hold him there, out-wrestle him for 3 rounds. Could Tony Ferguson get a submission off his back? Possibly. We've seen it before, and we know Chiesa isn't great in the grappling department. He's been submitted multiple times in the UFC, 5-6 times, right? 5 of his last 7 losses have been by submission. That's terrible. And 2 of his last 3 have been losses by submission. So if Chiesa just decides to wrestle for 3 rounds, Tony could pull off something. It's possible. But this fight is not staying on the feet. I have a hard time seeing it. Tony's a lot easier to be taken down. He has 67% takedown defense, which is not terrible, but it's not great. And as of late, his takedown defense's strength is kind of gone. It's diminished, right? So, yeah, the only way I think Tony wins this fight is by submission. 3-round, it's just hard to see a 3-round decision win because Chiesa is going to have spam takedowns throughout the fight, and he should be able to keep him down there. So, only way is Tony, or somehow he maybe cuts Chiesa with an elbow or something along those lines. But minus 600 Chiesa is ridiculous. Fight should go 3 rounds, should go over 2.5, but not as confident on that. We could see possibly like a Chiesa ground and pound finish, right? That is kind of possible as well. But yeah, I'd lean the over in rounds here. Definitely go the over 1.5. Probably got to pay for that though. But Chiesa should just out wrestle him, hold him down there, control him, and win this fight. But you cannot bet him. Almost impossible to bet him at this price. Last one here I'll talk about, guys. It's Dern minus 125 versus Goldenez plus 100. Tough one here. It's almost like a flip of a coin, but we'll talk about it. Always nice to see Dern back in there, right? She's popular. People like watching her in multiple ways, right? Should we open up the main card? I think there's one other fight possibly. I've seen conflicting cards, but yeah, we'll end it with this one. A very winnable fight for Dern. Trying to get her back on track here. That's why she's a slight favorite here. But Goldenez is not, Lupe, as they call her, not an easy task. And mainly due to that excellent takedown defense she has at 84%. And she'll be the better wrestler, right? This is what I find with Dern, right? Excellent grappler, but she can't get the fights there. She struggles to get the fight down there. That's the issue. If she does get it down there and has you in some sort of lock or grappling scenario, watch out, right? Watch out. But can she get it there? That's the big question, right? We've seen Dern when she stepped up in competition, she's failed. Back-to-back fights, right? Andrade, Lemos, not able to step up in competition. Dern's more of a mid-tier girl, and that's where Goldenez is too, and that's why we're seeing this even money pretty much on this fight, right? I have Goldenez as the better wrestler. Is she going to want to get this fight down to the ground? No. I have her as the slight better striker over Dern. The only favorable... Now, Dern, I got to give Mackenzie Dern a little props here on the feet. She's improved. The right hand's improved. She's trying to work in a jab. Her movement's a little better. But her defense is poor. Guys. Right? If you look at the stats, Goldenez is going to average over 3 takedowns per fight. And yes, she could wrestle, but I just don't think she needs to. I think you should just keep this on the feet. Close fight, maybe, but I think she can sneak out a decision win, Golnez. You just don't want to put Dern in a submission area or submission situation, right? So Lupe, I don't think, needs to wrestle here. This is a flip of a coin, guys. This fight, if I were to bet this fight over 2.5 rounds again, fight goes the distance. I think we'd see some fights that go the distance on this card. Dana won't be too happy, but hopefully we will be. I'm intrigued to see how this one goes. A good spot for Dern to get back here, but it's not an easy fight for her due to the matchup, right? Like I said, Lupe is not going to be at the level of Andrade or Lemos on the feet, right? That's where Dern got in trouble. She tried to strike sometimes and wasn't able to take those two down. Lupe's not there. She's not at that level of those girls, and that's why I give Dern a shot to win this fight. But I'll be staying away from a side standpoint, but I will be looking at the over 200 rounds and fight that goes the distance. That will do it, guys. That will do it. We got another good card here. Back-to-back good cards. We always know the Abu Dhabi cards are fairly good. This is another one. I see multiple good fights on this card. Client card will be out Friday after weigh-ins. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy this early card.